Good morning. Well, uh, I kind of just woke up a little bit ago. It's like quarter after 8. I kind of woke up at 8 o'clock, feeling real bad. And, yeah, I just knuckled under instantly. But, I don't know. I'm usually cheerful seeming or whatever on here, so I thought I'd come on here when I'm not cheerful seeming and just feel awful. I'm not exactly sure why. I didn't sleep much the night before last, and then last night I couldn't go to sleep. Even though I had woke up at 5 o'clock, I didn't go to sleep like till 2:30 in the morning. So I took a half a hydroxyzine, and man, I just feel awful. Like this is too hard. So I took a quarter milligram of Xanax and half a blood pressure pill. Uh, my anxiety's been real bad lately. Real frustrated because I was doing really good on my taper, and I kind of figured something like this might happen because I had the oral surgery thing where I knew I was going to have to up dose, and yeah, I don't know. I don't want to do this. I mean, I hate waking up like this. You're like, you know, got that laundry list of problems that I run through. Oh man, there's waking up on the wrong side of the bed, and then there's waking up on the wrong side of the bed. Uh, Woo. I'm gonna wait. I'm not gonna go back to sleep. That's not gonna happen. I don't want to be conscious, and man, oh boy, oh my head don't feel good. I don't understand this because I'm not even taking that much of this stuff. I just got like, I made a video last night for something to do, and I was, don't have anybody I can talk to that I feel safe around. It's like I got a therapist and I got like one guy. I can't be bothering this one guy all the time. By the way, this is what my voice sounds like in the morning. Good God. So I'm gonna wait until that little bit of Xanax kicks in and drink some green tea and stay away from the caffeine and try to move around and stuff. It's very important to maintain some kind of schedule. So the last thing you want to do is that sleeping in drips and drabs thing. Even though I've been having trouble sleeping, you don't want to wake up in a decent hour, like 8 o'clock in the morning, and then go back to sleep. But I don't want to be conscious. I got a lot of other problems besides the benzo thing, the CRPS, and the heart trouble, and now this knee that's uh, hard to walk on. And then, like I said, last night it took me like a half an hour to work up the nerve uh, to call my brother, who I talk to all the time, just because um, I was like, man, I can't deal with any more nonsense from people, which I'm sure I run through when I talk it on here before. But man, I hate feeling like that. But I was in a situation where I was all raw, and I'm like, I'm not taking a pill just so I can talk to somebody and have that fortification in case things go bad. So I called him without taking the pill, and then uh, took the pill after I got off the phone with him. No, I took the pill while I was on the phone with him once I figured out that things were going to be okay. But I mean, that's just ridiculous. I just don't know any people that, not only do I not know hardly any people that can help me through this, I don't know any people that I can trust them not make it worse. That was a horrible sentence, that I can be this what, blah, blah. I gotta try to keep my sense of perspective though, and you know, sometimes, especially when you get in that passive mode, like I haven't been leaving the house, and I haven't been doing stuff that I need to be doing. Sometimes when you feel like that, or when you do that, it just makes it so much worse. I mean, sometimes you can do the laying around thing. I don't really lay around and feel sorry for myself so much as just lay around. And, oh man, that's like the hardest thing is waking up and like reacquainting yourself with who you are, what you have to deal with, and with me, with that I have CRPS. Oh man. And yesterday I realized that the drug deals that I witnessed outside the house, I don't even know who's living here. I know I witnessed drug deals, but I don't even know who's living here because the guy that was driving the blue minivan, he takes off and there's two guys that go upstairs. So I'm like, one guy's riding a bicycle and one guy looks like an Englishman. What are my voices like this just from not getting any good sleep the last couple of days? I haven't obviously been talking that much since I'm afraid to talk to people. Just because, it's just, there's nothing worse to me than that emotional bullshit and to have like just nonsense. Um, just to have like, guess I better give examples. Just to have somebody that is jerking around about some money they owe you, and then have another person that jerking you around about something else, and I can't go into detail about that. And have another person that wants to debate with you. You ask them something simple and they got to make it hard. And I don't know if you can blame the people in your life when you're going through something like this, and you can say like, they should be doing research or they should help me or whatever. You like, this is my problem. I mean, I feel responsible for doing this to myself. Uh, Nobody made me take those first pills, and I didn't have a doctor like a lot of you people had doctors that were like, oh, you got some anxiety here, try this pill that you're going to get addicted to. I didn't really do that. Like, as I've recounted before, I got mine off of a friend, and then I asked the doctor, and the doctor refused me like at least 2 times, maybe 3 times. I don't really remember right now. And then I had a ER trip. I got the heart thing, and sometimes it's hard to tell when you're having heart trouble and when you're having anxiety trouble. It's kind of hard to tell the difference. It happens all the time. People go to the ER thinking they have a heart problem, and they're just having an anxiety attack or something. So I go in there, and I know I'm having an anxiety thing, and the dude, that's the first time anybody actually prescribed Xanax for me, but I had taken it before then, so I figure I've been addicted for about 2 years. But waking up like this, I feel like I don't have any choice but to try to take the pill to make myself feel better. I don't usually wake up like this bad, where my head hurts, and just, oh man, I can't even tell you how I feel. My descriptive powers are not up to the task. So it isn't all shits and giggles with me. And it, can't go back in time and undo things. And see, I can't go into detail. I would, and I feel like if I was a different kind of person, I would feel justified because it's like I can't talk to you people. So, why not talk about your business on the internet? I imagine people have done that kind of thing before, but I'm not going to do it. I have to have some personal integrity or some standard that I hold myself to. Um, Not to do vindictive things like that. Now my stomach is talking in Swahili. Like, man, I don't know how. This is gonna be a rough day, man. If it don't get no better, I don't know what the heck I'm gonna do. Mm. Anyways, I don't want to waste y'all's time. Um, I'm fully capable of doing that, of course. But I don't know. Like I said, I have to keep a sense of perspective. I just backslid from quarter to a half because um, here's what happened in very brief form. Is had oral surgery, so I took a bunch. I think I don't remember, like 3.5 pills, which is 7 times my dose, and then after that day in the oral surgery, I took a quarter pill for one day. Next day, we'll do it in milligrams. Let me start over, man. Yeesh. Okay, 7.5 times for the surgery. Next day, a quarter of a milligram. The next day, a half a milligram. The next day, 3/4 of a milligram. The next day, back down to a half a milligram. Then I get my new script, and then 2 days at quarter of a milligram, and this would be the um, fifth day that I have to take half a milligram. So I feel like I'm back at half a milligram again. When I was doing so good at quarter of a milligram before I had to have oral surgery, and that is the reason why I wanted to, I got the my taper forced on me, and I was planning on tapering after the oral surgery because I figured, like, it's not a good time to withdraw when you got something like that. And the story behind the oral surgery, very briefly, is I had this problem for like 16 months plaguing me that I finally got taken care of, even though it's still healing, but it's finally taken care of. So I had a lot of anxiety, maybe more so than uh, other circumstances, just because it took so long to get anything done about it. So um, I knew when I got the reduction that I was going to be in withdrawal by the time um, that that's even documented on here in another video. That I knew how this whole thing was going to play out, and there wasn't a damn thing I could do about it because I didn't have at the time I didn't have doctor's cooperation. I go to see my doctor on the 30th, and I'm going to have him hopefully shoot my knee up with steroids so I can walk and move around a little better. Um, right now, when I get out of a recliner, like, how you got to force your legs down and force the foot stool part of the recliner down, it's like I'm doing that. I'm getting that started and then doing it with my hands because I can't, because it hurts my leg, and I don't even know if I can bend my leg back that far. I don't think I can, but I know it hurts like hell. And yeah, that just started getting really bad here in the last couple weeks. So I go from one thing to another thing, And you only need like the one thing when you're going through withdrawal. You just need to focus on that one thing, but life don't let you do that. The people around you don't let you do that. And in my case, my body don't let me do that. I just want to focus on the one thing. I think I could beat it pretty easily. Um, I just got all this other stuff piled on top of it. It's making it harder. I mean, I was already down and functional to a quarter of a milligram, and I was all optimistic. But now I'm gone back up to half a milligram, and I don't eat. It's not like I feel good on half a milligram either. So, you know, yeah, I don't know. I say that a lot. I realize I don't know, but I really don't. It's hard getting through this. You know, I have, like I said, man, I don't want to put these people on Front Street or whatever the current expression is. I know it's not that one, but man, I just don't really have any safe harbors. I don't really have any people I can go to but the one guy. Because everybody else got emotional troubles, or they're crazy, or they're dopers, or got alcohol problems, or, you know, they're just not safe to be around. You know, if you're in a fragile condition. And I had one person that I was trusting pretty much, but they pulled some nonsense that made things harder for me. Actually, on the day of my oral surgery, the day that I went to Cleveland and had that taken care of, they pulled some foolishness. Um, so I guess that's why I'm on here. Is I guess I still feel safe around myself, and you know, you guys can write whatever. I don't. I'm not. I always see that disabled comments thing, and I'm like, what is the point? Why put up a video and then disable the comments? You know, if people let people be however they're gonna be. So I ain't worried about that. I mean, it's pretty sad that I gotta talk into a camera, that I can't go to you. To It's not like I have nobody, but I just have people that I don't feel I can trust. You know, just you need people that are not going to make it worse at a bare minimum. I mean, uh, it made me feel like so bad just that I have to psych myself up to call my brother because we had some words. He's wanting to debate me about something. You know, I asked him something simple. You know, like it wasn't even. People get defensive in conversation. You know, so I asked him something simple, and then you know it turns into a debate. It's like, you know, I'm not accusing you of making me feel any kind of way. I'm just saying this made me feel this way, and so, you know, if you could please not do that again, that'd be awesome. But people like think I, think that you're accusing them of doing something, so they got to be defensive and they want to debate. It's like, no, just don't debate it. Just, you know, say okay. You don't have to acquiesce to. I don't expect acquiescence at every damn thing, but that was something simple. And I was like, I'm in a debate, and I'm like, now I'm irritated. I said, I got to get off the phone. And then, so the next phone call I made was, like I said, I was just sitting there like, what if this goes bad? What if I got more nonsense to be running around my head? I don't need it. So, so yeah, this is another face of um, benzo addiction. You know, I'm pretty much despairing at the moment. You know, I got this whole day facing me. It's I tried that L-theanine amino acid thing. I don't even know what that does, but I like to drink tea, so I don't even like the taste of it that much, but I'll drink some green tea and see if I can get through today. One thing I know is I know those pills don't help anything, you know. I mean, I took them to help me right now, and they don't seem to do what I want them to do. As far as like my heart might even feel worse on them, but yeah, I was having heart trouble for a couple of days where I feel like my heart's messing up, and I felt like a bout of arrhythmia for sure, but I just feel like a general wrongness in my chest, and you know, Alprazolam Xanax doesn't seem to do anything for that. I mean, I just took a half a pill out of desperation, just I'll take some aspirin or something maybe. I don't know. Ugh. Well, there's nothing to be gained. I got to remember I have an audience, and I'm not just talking to myself. So even if I have an audience of 2 dozen people, there's nothing to be gained by just being on here and being tiresome. So I guess I should. I always try to like transmute like alchemy, some kind of emotional alchemy. I always try to transmute um, despair into equanimity and even-mindedness and unhappiness into happiness, and you know, always try to laugh or joke or tell a story or something. But I don't know. This doesn't feel appropriate time for that. I usually try to do that, but god damn it, I don't know. I just don't. Yeah, I just think you. Yeah, there's enough people on here that are can show you the true face of benzo addiction better than I can, because I still can't uh, weep and cry and carry on and do all that stuff, because that'll make me sick because of the CRPS. So I'll take my foghorn voice and get off of here and just wait till it passes, if it passes, and check in another time. But yeah, this is how I wake up sometimes. I wake up and all you think about is the 9mm aspirin. And I'm not talking about suicidal ideation. I just want it to stop. I just want the suffering to stop. I shouldn't even have went there. But yeah, I had another video that like I said, I was talking to myself last night and recording it. And I was thinking about that, and I'm like, you know, they euthanize animals, and scientists and biologists view people as animals, but they won't cross that line. You know, uh, it's different if your depression or these thoughts you have about, man, I just don't want to do this anymore, are a product of emotional illness. But you know, I've had 32 years of CRPS, and that's 32 years of one of sort of a, I think it's got a certain notorious reputation now for the people that have heard of it. It's like being in pain every second of every day for 32 years. Um, yeah, you know, like I said before, it's like I've had a life. I mean, it hasn't been the best life, but I've had a life, and I don't really see anything but problems ahead. So, you know, the weird part is the reason I stay alive is one reason, and that's um, social responsibility. I had a brother that committed suicide, and so I know what that does to people. And I was fairly young when that happened, but I could see the effect that has, or the ripple effect that has. I don't want to do that, even though it would take care of my problems. I don't want to do that to people. I've had firsthand experience on that. I don't have a brother, and I don't blame him a bit for punching his own ticket. It made sense in his circumstance. That's a long story, and that's old news. That's not no fresh wound. That's very old news. Um, so yeah, what I'm trying to say is, like, there's times when you just feel bad, when it's just like, it's something that'll pass. And there's me where I'm just kind of like, I got a pain generating disease. Well, you can't see where my hand is, but it's around my ribs, just from there down. And I got a laundry list of symptoms to go with it, like symptoms that I have so many symptoms that they used to make people on disability go and see a state doctor. And you'd have to get examined, and you fill out forms, and you're supposed to list your symptoms, and you got to take it really serious, because I just lie all the time, frankly. Uh, I should finish that sentence, because I don't lie all the time. I lie when all the time on medical forms, just because it saves time. I don't want to go into my whole extensive medical history. I don't want to have to explain what CRPS is to a dentist so I can get a tooth taken care of. So I just don't, tell them about it. But in the case of being on disability, where that's your income, and that's your life, it's sort of at stake there. You don't have any choice. So I would list the symptoms and write the symptoms out, and I would need to flip over the page and write on the blank side of the back of the page, and I would just look at what I'd written and be like, Jesus, because I don't really think about that all the time. It's a survival thing. I don't think about CRPS all that much. I know I mention it in all my videos, and because it's a key part of who I am and all that. But I mean, as far as my day to day, I don't think about, I got this problem, I got that problem, I got this problem, I got that problem. But you have to do it. When I would go into those state appointed doctor appointments, I'd have to go into everything. And really very sobering. So in some cases, it seems logical. Like, I've been around for 50 years. I had a life, and I don't see, it's old age is going to be really, really hard for me. So I don't see the point for myself, but I have to keep living for out of social responsibility. I'm tired of it, and the people that I'm living for are the ones I've been mean mouthing and bad mouthing, saying how I can't trust them. Those are the people that I'm kind of protecting by still living and getting them used to the idea of me being gone. And it's a hell of a way to start your day, thinking about stuff like that, but that's where I'm at. I don't want to be on here and just... Actually, I do want to be on here and just tell funny stories, because I'd rather be in a good mood. But I'm not going to pretend that, yeah. I mean, I try to be cheerful, and I try to be funny, and try to be in a good mood. But this is me a lot of days, where I'm just like at the wit's end of how to deal with this, or how to deal with my life in general. But the withdrawal thing, it's really depressing to me that I went back to the usual dose. I had it like planned out in my head that I was going to have like, yeah, well, let's just say I had it planned out in my head that didn't pan out. As far as like getting off the benzo stuff. Now I think I feel a little bit of a calming effect maybe it's just talking about it. Like talking about stuff's good for you, even if it's even if I don't have people I can talk to and trust in the flesh. Just talking about it in general and expressing it makes you feel better. And then 40 milligram of Xanax maybe taking effect. The videos at the 30-minute mark, they're pretty fast acting. I can drink some tea for my voice and my general well-being and stay away from the coffee. I don't think I have any coffee in the house anyway, so I think that'll be easy. But uh, uh, going through stuff alone, something I've have so much experience with, but going through this alone is a little different than going through like aches and pains and suffering in your body alone, because it is nice to have that to understand that you're not all that bad off, and that you can have a conversation with people, and that you can hold your own intellectually with people and all that. um, yeah, I got like people right now that live like really close to here, but uh, I don't want to see any of them. I don't want nothing to do with any of them. I don't want to ask any of them for any favors. And uh, maybe they don't deserve that. Maybe they do. I don't know. But I have to be really careful and try to protect what little mind I got left. I don't need like I don't need to be like running over things in my head as far as like the way people treat me and stuff. And like I don't need extra things. And I got the one guy, and I don't want to bother him because he has so many grandchildren and such a busy life, and he has his own thing going on, and so I don't want to bother him. And as my soul guy, every time I feel like I need somebody to talk to, I don't really call him all that much. He calls me like at least once a week, and the therapist I have is 25 years old. I'm sorry, 25-year-olds that are listening to you, but yeah, unless you suffered a whole bunch, you ain't learned a whole lot by 25 about life. That's just the way it is. Uh, you expect a 25-year-old to understand my psyche? Come on now. They were talking about, she was like, would you like to see a psychiatrist? And I'm like, not really. I said, I feel pretty sane and rational and logical and stuff. Uh, what's he gonna do? Like, uh, medicate me? I mean, I can talk about my problems and I got a fairly good handle on them, but you know, when you got a tech, or like say when you got a broken finger, you can be aware of the broken finger. You can look at it and acknowledge it and realize it. But in the end of the day, you still got a broken finger. So I'm still going to have the same problems whether I talk to a psychiatrist or not. Um, and I can articulate my thing. I can, what they call it, talk therapy or whatever they call it. I can do that, obviously. So I don't really want to see a psychiatrist. What's he gonna do? Break out the prescription pad, start messing with my brain chemistry with some more fun drugs. Say, well, we can try this or we can try that. My doctor does that from time to time. He'll be like, well, they got this drug gabapentin that's good for your neurological disorders, and it's good for depression, or it's used to treat that. And then they're like Neurontin, and I tried gabapentin, Neurontin. I don't know if that's even the same. It might be the same thing. Uh, I don't even know. I know the names, Lyrica, and didn't really, they don't really do anything. Sometimes I don't even feel the effects of them at all. Sometimes I do. And then Cymbalta, which was the one that I took, like I took it once, and it made me so sick that I'll never take it again. And the doctor was like, well, you need to let that build up in your system. And I'm like, no, I don't need to let that build up in my system. I'd rather handle a live rattlesnake than take another one of them pills. I had such a bad reaction to it that I was sipping water. I couldn't even drink water on it. So I just waited for the effect of the pill to go away. I literally felt like I was having some kind of allergic reaction to it. I felt so sick from it. I was like, never touch them things again. Um, so yeah, if I go to a psychiatrist, what am I going to do? I'm going to do what I'm doing now. Anyway, I can do this with less trouble. Just be talking about my problems. I've been to psychiatrists before. I'm not really a big on the whole profession. I like going to a therapist where you just talk to them and you can like check in and they can ask you questions and stuff. I don't have a problem with that. Um, just like going to a psychologist or whatever. It's like the one I got's 25 years old, so she sits there and cracks her knuckles while she's talking to me because the stuff I'm talking about is so intense. It's making her nervous. I mean, how's she gonna help me? You know, I don't even talk to her about the really bad stuff I've been through because I feel bad for her. She's a nice person. She's just doing her job. So I don't even like burden her with the really heavy stuff. I'll just talk about my interpersonal relationships and how people are. And she'll start cracking her knuckles. She gets so nervous. It's like, yeah, I feel bad. I just feel bad for her. Though that's her job, and I imagine she gets compensated very well. But she starts wringing her hands and stuff. And it's like there's 25-year-olds, and there's 25-year-olds. By the time I was 25 years old, my brother had committed suicide. I had a spinal tumor. Uh, I had a guy try to kill me and mess me up pretty bad. I had spinal reconstruction surgery, halo traction, metal rod put in my back, and CRPS. I had all that before I was 20, let alone 25. So, you know, 25-year-old that's had a good enough life that she's gone to school and got a degree, and um, I think I asked her. She told me she had to go to school for 6 years, but she hasn't seen the darkness. I've seen the darkness, and so she can't, she can't even handle listening to some of that stuff without wringing her hands and cracking her knuckles. And how's she gonna help me with it? It's helpful because she works as like a case manager for me and tries to hook me up with programs, and tries to look at my case, and she actually cares about the case and takes her job seriously. And it's always helpful to talk if you can about the things that are bothering you, just because an emotion repressed is amplified 1,000 times, according to Kane on the old TV show Kung Fu. And I'm talking about before it got goofy. I'm talking about the '70s show, where it was a little bit more serious. So you don't want to repress emotions. And since I have to repress my emotions and express them intellectually and verbally instead of like being like what I want to do, like right now I want to break things and cry and yell and just, I, that's how I'm just, to wake up this miserable. I'm like I got a whole damn day ahead of me of CRPS and my foul mood with the Benzo thing, which I'll tell you that those medicines, they really don't help. They're like I said, Xanax was good for getting. It's good for getting through one day where you have like a surgery or something like that, but it doesn't help you emotionally. I mean, it's calming me down right now physically, but emotionally I'm the same. But I don't feel my heart anymore. Like I woke up feeling my heart. I'm like, oh Jesus. And I'm looking at my pulse, and I can see my pulse beat in my hand. And so I'm looking at my pulse because I got that history of arrhythmia. I'm like, well, that seems normal. And then, you can feel your pulse. And I'm like, okay, I don't know why I'm feeling my heart. My heart seems to be okay. And, I would give I would empty my bank account in a second if I had something that would never, where I would never feel my heartbeat again. I would. Um, that's where my anxiety comes from. I mean, I've had a really difficult life. I told you I went through all them things before I was 20 years old, and I had a difficult home life before that, and a father that was frightening and unglued, and a very intense person. He wasn't all bad. It's just that the bad outweighed the good, and he was just, I was, every, well, I wasn't the only one. A lot of people was afraid of him. Um, so I have like that generalized anxiety. But then once I got the heart thing, which I've always lived with, I mean, I've always lived with a certain amount of anxiety. My stomach would get knotted up over stupid things, just like going somewhere to an appointment or something like that. I'd start, feeling freaking out, and like going to grade school, for instance. I always had trouble sleeping before I had to go to school, and my stomach was always knotted up. Then I would get to school and it would unknot a little bit. But with the heart thing, and having been put under and cardioverted, where they shock your heart back into rhythm like 4 times, and then feeling my heart mess up at least once every 24 hours, where I'm gotta wait for it to go back in rhythm, where I'm just looking at my chest, say, "You want to straighten the fuck up now? Or we got to go to the hospital or what here?" And it's super demoralizing when that happens. And that happened yesterday briefly, like a brief bout. You think a brief bout, like for 5 seconds, your heart goes out of rhythm. It's no big deal, but I've been had my heart shocked before and had uncomfortable hospitalizations and going out in ambulances and stuff. So if you think about it, if your heart's messing up and you can go 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005, that's a long 5 seconds. And sometimes it stays out of rhythm for longer than 5 seconds, where you're waiting to see, like, is my whole life going to be disrupted? Am I going to be in a cardiac unit in about an hour? I won't be in a cardiac unit in about an hour. I'll be in the emergency room. Um, so yeah, I think anybody under these circumstances, so I don't have like a self-esteem thing, because I figure anybody under these circumstances would be cracking. I have a despair thing, where like the circumstances are the circumstances, and they just weigh on me every day. And then the people I'm staying alive for drive me crazy half the time. So yeah, I'll put this one up instead of the other one I made last night, because this one shows the true face of benzo addiction a little better, even though I'm not doing the weeping and crying thing. The frustration and the despair, and you know it seems more honest to me. Plus it's how I feel right now, and I'm getting a lot of like, not real headaches, but I'm just tired of bitching, tired of complaining about it. I hate complaining. I was raised not to complain and whine about things. But things are what they are, and this is right now, this is a damn near intolerable level of suffering. I'm hoping it'll get better. I'll get out of bed. I'll drink some water and get out of bed and make a cup of tea, and hope it eases, but it could be a long day. But like a, I do owe you, I guess, something interesting that's just not somebody just for sitting through this. I feel like I owe you something. So here's maybe the weirdest conversation I ever had. It goes like this. Now, I've known this guy a long time, and you got to remember, this is far, far, far from a complete stranger to me, but this is how the conversation went, the piece of the I remember. He says, I killed somebody once. No, he didn't say that. Man, my brain's not right. He didn't say that. He said, I shot somebody once. And I said, what? He goes, I shot somebody. And I'm like, why'd you shoot somebody? He goes, they were stealing a bike. And I was like, they were stealing your bike? He goes, no, it wasn't my bike. I'm like, okay, what? And he's like, no, no, no. I was coming out of the woods and I was hunting and I had my 22 rifle with me. And I saw a guy outside of a bar messing with the motorcycle, trying to steal it. So I shot him. And I'm like, you shot him? And he goes, I just shot him in the leg. Now, that dude watched too much Bonanza because, you know, them guys like Haas Little Joe and Adam and them guys, they must have got shot like 100 times in 20 years on that show. And they just kind of walk it off and drink some Gatorade and they're fine. That, you know, that old West Gatorade. And that's not how real life works. So that dude watched too much TV. You just can't be shooting people in the leg. You know, I don't know what happened to the dude that he shot, but I know that he wasn't lying. That he did shoot somebody. But yeah, I don't even know the context of that little snippet of conversation. But I won't ever forget that little snippet of conversation. And the part of it that always strikes me as funny in a way is like the part where he says they were stealing the bike, and I was like, they were stealing your bike? And he goes, no, it wasn't my bike. That's the part that stops me in my tracks. That's maybe the oddest conversation I've had that was a brief conversation with somebody, because it didn't go much past that, because after that I didn't know what to say. You know, this is somebody I've known my whole life, and or seemingly my whole life, most of my life, and I didn't have a clue as to what to say to him. So anyways, I don't know. I guess you can't apologize for yourself, so I want to apologize for the way this video come out. This is just me today. Um, Hopefully I can do better, but I don't know what I can do to make it better. Anyways, so I hope you're doing better than me, and this is my therapy, so uh, I'll be back in a couple of days doing the same thing. I will talk to y'all later. Goodbye.